So, have you ever had one of those moments where you just want to throw everything away and start over? I mean, really think about it for a second. We've all felt that pressure, right? But what if that pressure wasn't just a bad day at work, but years of feeling like you're the second best choice in your own family? That is exactly where we find ourselves today with the shocking return of Wyatt Spencer to Los Angeles. Honestly, we all thought there'd be a huge party when he got back, especially since he's been gone since 2024. But the writers didn't give him a warm welcome. Instead, they threw him straight into the deep end of the Spencer family shark tank. And let me tell you, things have changed while he was away. Bill Spencer hasn't just been sitting around. He's built this massive new fashion empire called Logan, and it's basically a giant monument to his own ego and his love for Katie Logan. He built this whole thing to declare war on Forrester Creations. He wanted a monopoly, and he called Wyatt back to be his right-hand man and the heir to the kingdom. But then the second Will Spencer walked through the door, everything flipped upside down for Wyatt. You remember what happened with Will, right? He got fired from Forrester because he got into a violent bar fight with RJ Forrester and punched him right in the face. Now, in a normal world, you'd think a dad like Bill would be disappointed. You'd think he'd give Will a lecture about how to act like a professional. But the funny thing is, Bill didn't discipline him at all. Instead, he welcomed Will into the Logan brand with open arms and gave him authority he didn't even earn. Now, just put yourself in Wyatt's shoes for a minute. How would you feel? Wyatt has spent his whole life fighting for just a tiny bit of his father's validation. He's been the reliable one and the workhorse for years. And then his younger brother, who was just fired for being a loose cannon, gets treated like a hero. It's a bitter, jagged pill to swallow. It tells Wyatt that no matter how hard he works, he's never going to be enough. That is a huge slap in the face. This is where that toxic seed of jealousy really starts to grow. And can you even blame him? He's watching Bill parade Will around the office like he's the savior of the company. Wyatt feels like his throne is under a direct threat. And this is where things get really dark. That internal conflict turns into a cold, calculated resentment. Wyatt realizes that as long as Will is the favorite, Wyatt is always going to be in the shadows. So he makes a chilling decision. He decides he has to eliminate his rival. And he wants to do it in a way that completely destroys Will in Bill's eyes so he can never come back from it. And the perfect weapon just happened to fall right into his lap. We are talking about the legendary Hope for the Future diamond. Now, do you remember the history of this thing? This isn't just some random piece of jewelry. It's a multi-million-dollar, 40-carat blue diamond that defines wealth and power. Bill wanted to use it for a massive publicity stunt to launch Hope's new line against Forrester. Wyatt was the one who had to do all the heavy lifting to get it back, too. He had to navigate legal messes and security hurdles. But when that diamond finally arrived in its little velvet case, Wyatt didn't see a marketing tool. He saw a weapon. He saw the perfect way to destroy his own brother. Just think about the psychology behind that. This is his own flesh and blood. But Wyatt is so blinded by ambition and pain that he's ready to throw it all away. He waits for the cover of darkness. He waits until the Logan fashion house is eerily silent. Can you imagine the tension in that building? Wyatt is moving through the shadows, and his heart is probably pounding against his ribs. He's walking on those polished marble floors and making no sound at all. He's holding that velvet box with a steady grip, and at this point his conscience is completely gone. It's been silenced by the roar of his ambition. He slips into Will's office, the office Bill proudly gave to his youngest son. The irony is just incredible, isn't it? Wyatt is standing in the dark in his brother's sanctuary, ready to turn it into a prison. He opens the bottom drawer of Will's heavy mahogany desk and hides the diamond right there under a stack of confidential files. He slides the drawer shut, and just like that, the trap is set. Will is finished and he doesn't even know it yet. The next morning, the fashion house is buzzing with energy. Everyone is excited, but Wyatt is ready for his big performance. He's become a master manipulator. He bursts into the boardroom looking like he's in a total panic. He tells Bill and Katie that the diamond is gone and has vanished from the vault. You can imagine Bill's reaction, right? He erupts. He's screaming and demanding answers. And Wyatt is right there, acting like the diligent executive. He's the one who insists on calling the police and says they have to follow protocol. He's basically pulling the net tight around his brother's neck and using the law to do it. When the LAPD shows up, the whole atmosphere changes. It's not about fashion anymore. It's about a crime. And Wyatt is playing the helpful liaison. He's guiding the detectives and subtly pointing them in the right direction. He mentions just offhandedly that only a few people have the security clearance to get into that vault. He's planting the seeds and leading them straight to Will's door. When they get to Will's office, the kid has no idea what's happening. He's just sitting there, probably feeling untouchable because of his last name. He even scoffs at them and tells them to go ahead and search because he thinks he has nothing to hide. But then the detective opens that bottom drawer. You hear the metallic scrape of the drawer, and it's the sound of Will's life falling apart. The detective pulls out the velvet box, snaps it open, and there it is. The diamond is glowing under the office lights. It's beautiful, but it's damning. Will's face goes completely white, and he can't even breathe. He starts stammering, saying he's never seen it. But who's going to believe him? The evidence is right there in his desk. Katie bursts in, and she is absolutely devastated. She's sobbing and throwing herself between Will and the cops, begging them to listen. She knows her son isn't a thief and thinks it's a frame-up by the Forresters. But her tears don't matter to the police because they have the diamond. The real heartbreak, though, comes from Bill. He's standing in the doorway frozen, looking at Will with this crushing disappointment. The fire in his eyes is just gone. He thinks his son betrayed him in the most humiliating way possible. Will is pleading with his eyes, but Bill just turns his head away because he can't even look at him. And standing right behind Bill is Wyatt, watching the whole thing with this sociopathic calmness. Then Wyatt delivers the final blow. He gives the police a fake alibi for himself, and then mentions that Will was asking for security override codes the night before. He's twisting the knife and painting Will as a reckless kid who wanted to steal the stone to be financially independent. He's pushing his own brother into the abyss with just a few carefully chosen words. Then comes the sound of the handcuffs, that sharp metallic click. It's the end of the road for Will. He's being pulled out of the building in chains while every employee watches. He's the golden boy one minute and a common thief the next. And as those police sirens fade into the distance, Wyatt is left standing there victorious. He's eliminated his rival and secured his throne, but at what cost? He's looking at Katie, who has collapsed into Bill's arms, sobbing her heart out. Wyatt won the war, but he had to become a monster to do it. It really makes you think about the Spencer men, doesn't it? In their world, the most dangerous enemies are always the ones who smile at you from across the table. We really have to look at the history here to understand why this is so crazy. If you've been watching for a long time, you know this isn't the first time Wyatt has messed with this diamond. Back in 2013, when he first showed up, he was obsessed with Hope Logan. He wanted to steal her away from Liam, and back then he staged a fake jewelry heist to look like a hero. He wanted to impress Hope and be the guy who recovered the stone. But back then he got caught. Liam and the security guard Charlie Weber found the footage and proved Wyatt set the whole thing up. So fast forward to now. Wyatt isn't faking the theft this time. He's actually stealing it to destroy his brother. It shows how much he's changed. He's not that charming bad boy with a heart of gold anymore. He's something much more dangerous. What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think Wyatt can actually keep this a secret? Historically, the truth always comes out on soaps. Will Liam be the one to figure it out again? Or maybe Shauna Fulton? She's back in town and she's definitely got her eye on Bill. She and Wyatt are actually pretty friendly, so what if she sees through his act? Could she use that information to get what she wants? And what about the diamond itself? Some people on the show say it has magical powers and leads people to their destiny. If that's true, what is Wyatt's destiny? Is he destined to be the king of the empire? Or is he destined to lose everything when the truth comes out? I really want to hear what you guys think about this. Is Wyatt justified in his anger? I mean, Bill really was playing favorites with Will, right? But did he go too far? Is there any coming back from framing your own brother for a multi-million-dollar theft? And what about Will? He's in a jail cell right now, facing years in prison. How is he going to react when he realizes his own brother set him up? Is this the start of a lifelong war between them? We've seen Bill and Thorne fight and we've seen Liam and Wyatt fight, but this feels different. This feels permanent. Also, let's talk about Bill Spencer for a second. Is he a terrible father or what? He just assumes Will is guilty without even hearing him out. He's so focused on his empire and his legacy that he doesn't even see what's happening right in front of him. Does he deserve to have a son like Wyatt, who is willing to burn everything down to get his attention? There are so many moving parts here. You've got Hope Logan moving her line to Logan. You've got Ridge trying to bond with her, and you've got Steffi getting suspicious. This summer is shaping up to be absolutely wild. Will Bill find out about Wyatt's previous fake heist? Just think about that for a second. That is all the time Wyatt Spencer had to decide whether he was going to stay the nice guy who always finishes last or if he was ready to become the monster who finally takes the crown. Have you ever wondered what actually pushes a person to snap? Is this just a simple case of sibling rivalry? Or are we watching the total psychological collapse of a man who has finally been pushed way past his limit? Specifically, we have to talk about the huge question everyone is asking. Is Bill Spencer finally going to find out about Wyatt's shady past with this diamond? Wyatt is finally back in Los Angeles, and the writers didn't waste a single second. They threw him right into the deep end. But things are different now. Bill Spencer hasn't just been sitting around playing with his sword necklace. He's built this massive empire to declare war on Forrester Creations. He called Wyatt back to be his right-hand man and the heir to the kingdom. But then the corporate world flipped upside down the very second Will Spencer walked through the door. Everything changed for Wyatt. Remember, Will got fired for that fight with R.J. Forrester. And instead of discipline, Bill welcomed him with open arms. Wyatt has spent his entire life fighting for a tiny bit of his father's validation. He's been the reliable one, the workhorse. And then his younger brother gets treated like a hero. That is a bitter pill to swallow. It tells Wyatt that no matter how hard he works, he will never be enough. So a toxic seed of jealousy starts to grow. Can you blame him? He's watching Bill parade Will around like he's the savior of the company. Wyatt feels like his throne is under immediate threat. This is where it gets really dark. Wyatt's internal conflict turns into cold, calculated resentment. He realizes that as long as Will is the favorite, Wyatt will always be in the shadows. So Wyatt makes a chilling decision to eliminate his rival. He needs to make sure Will can never come back from this. And the perfect weapon fell right into his lap. The legendary hope for the future diamond. This isn't just jewelry. It's a 40-carat blue diamond that is the definition of wealth and power. Bill wanted to use it for a massive publicity stunt. Wyatt had to do all the heavy lifting to get it. But when it arrived, Wyatt didn't see a marketing tool. He saw a weapon to destroy his own brother. Think about the psychology of that. This is his flesh and blood. But Wyatt is so blinded by ambition and pain that he's ready to throw it all away. But here is where things get really interesting for longtime fans. Does Bill actually know what Wyatt is capable of? Because this isn't Wyatt's first rodeo with this specific diamond. Back in 2013, Wyatt pulled a stunt that was almost identical to this, but with a different goal. Back then, he was trying to win over Hope Logan. He wanted to look like a hero, so he staged a fake heist. He literally arranged for the diamond to be stolen so he could swoop in, take down the thieves, and return the gem to Hope. It was a total setup. It worked too. Hope thought he was incredible and actually ended things with Liam for a while because of it. But the truth came out because Liam and Charlie Weber did some detective work. They found the security footage and proved Wyatt was a fraud. So the big question is, does Bill remember that? Or did he just choose to forget because Wyatt is his mini-me? Bill sees so much of himself in Wyatt and loves that bad boy energy. But there is a huge difference between being a tough businessman and being a criminal who frames his own brother. If Bill finds out that Wyatt has a history of staging diamond heists, his current trust in Wyatt is going to vanish instantly. Right now, Wyatt is using that history to his advantage. He knows how the security works and how to manipulate the narrative. He's moving through the fashion house at night with a sociopathic calmness. He's not even nervous, he's just focused. Can you imagine the tension in that building at night? Wyatt is walking on those polished marble floors, making no sound at all. He's holding that velvet box with a steady grip. At this point, his conscience is completely gone, silenced by the roar of his ambition. He slips into Will's office, the office Bill proudly gave to his youngest son. The irony is incredible, isn't it? Wyatt is standing in the dark, ready to turn his brother's sanctuary into a prison. He opens the bottom drawer of Will's heavy mahogany desk and hides the diamond right there under a stack of confidential files. He slides the drawer shut, and just like that, the trap is set. But what if someone is watching? We know Shauna Fulton is back in town. She's already pitching herself to Bill, trying to get a job at Logan. She and Wyatt are actually pretty friendly, but Shauna is a hustler. She knows a player when she sees one. If she catches Wyatt in a lie, do you think she'll protect him? Or will she use that information to get closer to Bill? And then there's Liam. Liam is the one who caught Wyatt the first time. He knows exactly what Wyatt is capable of. If Liam sees Will in handcuffs, don't you think he's going to start asking questions? He's going to remember 2013 and the security tapes. He's going to remember that when a diamond goes missing around Wyatt, things are never what they seem. The next morning, Wyatt puts on the performance of a lifetime. So let's get a debate going in the comments. Are you Team Wyatt or Team Will? Do you think Wyatt is the ultimate villain now? Or is he just a product of a toxic family? And do you think Darren Brooks is doing an amazing job with this dark turn for the character? I personally think it's one of the best storylines we've had in a long time. It's dark, it's emotional, and it's classic bold and the beautiful. But let's back up and talk about that diamond again. It's not just a prop. The Hope for the Future diamond is a fictional blue diamond that has its roots deep in Hope Logan's fashion line. It's also connected to Wyatt Spencer's early romance with her. The gem first appeared back in 2013 when Wyatt and his mom, Quinn Fuller, loaned it from a wealthy collector named Ricardo Montemayor for a major fashion event. It became the center of attention as a necklace in a Hope for the Future campaign. It brought massive publicity to the line and played a huge role in the love triangle between Hope, Liam, and Wyatt. Things took a weird turn in 2014 when Ricardo mysteriously died and left the diamond to Wyatt in his will, which shocked everyone. The diamond stayed connected to the fashion line and gave rise to one of the soap's most memorable stories. Wyatt and Hope actually traveled to Mexico to convince Ricardo to loan the gem as a promotional centerpiece. The stone became symbolic of Hope's rising success. But because this is B&B, things spiraled into scandal quickly. After Ricardo died, there were shocking accusations that Quinn may have played a role in his death, just so Wyatt could inherit it. That inheritance ignited a lot of suspicion and manipulation. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Spencer family drama, make sure you hit that like button because it really helps the channel out. And if you want to stay updated on everything with Wyatt, Bill, and the rest of the crew, you definitely need to subscribe and turn on those notifications. We're following this story every step of the way, and you do not want to miss what happens when the truth finally hits the fan. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next one. Think about the psychology of that. This is his flesh and blood. But Wyatt is so blinded by ambition and pain that he's ready to throw it all away. But here is where things get really interesting for longtime fans. Does Bill actually know what Wyatt is capable of? Because this isn't Wyatt's first rodeo with this specific diamond. Back in 2013, Wyatt pulled a stunt that was almost identical to this, but with a different goal. Back then, he was trying to win over Hope Logan. He wanted to look like a hero, so he staged a fake heist. He literally arranged for the diamond to be stolen so he could swoop in, take down the thieves, and return the gem to Hope. It was a total setup. It worked too. Hope thought he was incredible and actually ended things with Liam for a while because of it. But the truth came out because Liam and Charlie Weber did some detective work. They found the security footage and proved Wyatt was a fraud. So the big question is, does Bill remember that? Or did he just choose to forget because Wyatt is his mini-me? Bill sees so much of himself in Wyatt and loves that bad boy energy. But there is a huge difference between being a tough businessman and being a criminal who frames his own brother. If Bill finds out that Wyatt has a history of staging diamond heists, his current trust in Wyatt is going to vanish instantly. Right now, Wyatt is using that history to his advantage. He knows how the security works and how to manipulate the narrative. He's moving through the fashion house at night with a sociopathic calmness. He's not even nervous, he's just focused.